Many buyers are nervous about buying a foreclosed home. There's plenty of horror stories about people purchasing a foreclosure and regretting it. But buying a foreclosure isn't necessarily the nightmare that people portray it to be. The auctioneer at an auction I recently went to mentioned that he had been bidding on a house, and luckily he lost the bid because he found out several months later from the guy that did get the highest bid that the house was on a sinkhole, and he lost all of his investment. There are some things you should know about foreclosures before you decide to purchase one, whether it's going to be your primary residence or an investment. So let's talk about what to expect so you are well prepared before you consider spending buku bucks on a distressed property. Hi, I'm Clute with Ozark Realty, and I work with lakefront sellers who are animal owners. I've been in real estate for 14 years and helped almost 400 families in Arkansas buy or sell property. First, let's make sure we understand what a foreclosure is. A foreclosed home is a certain stage in the distressed sale process. There's different types of distressed homes depending on the point that they're in the process. Of course, there's pre-foreclosure. That's when the homeowner is still in the home and maybe they missed a payment or two, but the bank hasn't gone through the full foreclosure process, so they don't own it fully. This is like the other parts of the process with full foreclosure or REO homes, and that the homeowner is likely still not going to be able to make repairs because obviously there's a reason they're not making their payment. They're financially under strain, and that could be a reason for some issues with any house in the foreclosure process. Unlike pre-foreclosure, foreclosed property has been repossessed by the lender and they are going to sell it at auction. Very rarely are auctions anything but cash, and very often it is sight unseen, so you're kind of gambling a little bit when you go to buy a foreclosure property. They are a great way for investors with cash on hand to go ahead and fix and flip or rent a property, but not maybe the best way for the average buyer or first-time buyer to buy their first home. Then there's REO properties, real estate owned homes or bank owned homes. This means that the last owner is completely out of the picture, they've left the property, and it's on the bank's roll. They have continued expenses for maintenance, and so they're probably going to be pretty motivated to get rid of that. So what are some tips for buying a distressed home? You don't need to be an investor to consider buying a distressed home. There are some excellent deals available for the right buyer, but you need to know what you're getting into before you dig yourself a hole that you can't get out of. Cash is king. Many investors buy their properties with cash, which is a tough thing to compete with if you're a buyer that needs to get a loan. You can get a loan to buy a distressed property, it is possible, but you also need to calculate the funds that you'll need to repair the property. Plus, you'll have normal closing costs on any property that you would be buying. Closing costs, sometimes you even have to pay the seller's closing costs, but then there's the cost of repairs and updates. You may be able to get those financed as well, so the purchase price and the closing costs and even the repairs, you can get what's called a construction loan. It's kind of like a home equity loan, but you're estimating what it's going to cost you, and so it's kind of like a line of credit is actually more the right word for it. If the house isn't move-in ready, you need to also account for the time that you'll be paying for wherever you're actually living, as well as cost to keep the utilities on and everything at the house that you've just bought. Even if it's not going to be your primary residence and you never plan to move in, you still have the vacancy costs that you're not getting rental income while you're making updates to the home. So if you don't have cash to purchase your investment property, it is important to get pre-approved. Pre-approval is ideal for any buyer interested in any home sale, but it's especially important for buyers looking at investment or foreclosure properties. You likely won't be able to add any contingencies to your offer, such as selling your house, or sometimes even a loan, inspections, surveys, anything like that. They're probably just going to be take it or leave it, close as soon as the seller says. If you ever bought or sold a home with another human, you already know how hard that process can be rough just because emotions are involved. But it is usually harder when a bank involved because you don't get to talk directly to the person that's signing the papers. You're talking about 10 people before you can get them to sign or what they're actually going to agree to. The more red tape you can eliminate before you start the process, the more successful you will be in buying the home that you want. When you're looking at how to buy a foreclosure, research. Let's just say that you're going to get a loan, you got your pre-approval out of the way. That means you're either buying pre-foreclosure or an REO, because an auction is going to be the case with a full foreclosure and you'll need cash. You'll have the ability to give more due diligence because with an auction, it's just as is. You might be able to do an inspection, you'll be able to hopefully get to view the property, you may be even able to ask questions of the homeowner if it's in pre-foreclosure, and they can tell you any issues that they know with the house. When buying any home, you should think about hiring an inspector. If the seller or bank allows it, it'll of course be in the contract, but they probably won't turn the utilities on to get a thorough inspection, so it might not be in your best interest to spend the money on an inspection. So another alternative is to hire a contractor to come in and give you a quote on any repairs or updates that you plan to make to the property, knowing that more issues are probably going to be found once they get the utilities on and find if there's any leaks in the roof or the pipes. And even if they have to get in the wall, they might find more problems. So just take anything that they say with a grain of salt, and that's why I say a rough estimate. And then once you get that information, you can decide if you even want to bid on the property or how much you want to bid on it so that you can have enough to make repairs to the property. Also, you want to make sure that there's no additional liens on the property. See if the local title company will give you a preliminary title search. They will see if there's any liens on it or just the mortgage, hopefully, so that they can pass title once the mortgage signs off on it. Title insurance may not be provided by the seller. They'll probably offer it to you, but they're probably going to make you pay for it. When you're looking at buying any house, it's always a good idea to do a drive-by. So if the bank says you can't get inside and look at the house, at least look at the neighborhood. See where the house sits inside the town. See what it looks like on the street. What do the neighbors' houses look like? It gives you an idea of the value of the home because of the other homes in the neighborhood. Look at the things that you can see on the outside. Does the roof look like it's updated? How does the foundation look? Has the air conditioner been stolen? Did the last owner take things with them that maybe they shouldn't have, like the shed or the fence? Did they enclose the garage, or is there still covered parking? Did they add a carport? There's all kinds of information that you can find just by looking at the outside of the house. If you get a chance to get it in the inside, that's even better. Maybe you can just peek in the windows and see what the floor layout is, or maybe if they took some stuff from the inside, like the appliances or the cabinets. Hopefully not. It'll also give you an idea of how much delayed maintenance there has been. Maybe if you don't know how long it's been occupied, you can at least see, like I said, if the roof hasn't been repaired, if the gutter's hanging down. It's going to give you an idea of maybe what else you're going to have to put into the property. One foreclosure I bought was occupied. I did do a drive-by. It looked like it was in good condition. It had a metal roof, so I went ahead and made a purchase on the property. Unfortunately, later I found out that the homeowners had actually been foreclosed on 3 years ago and still lived in the home. So it took me a judge's order to remove them after 9 months. And the property was in reasonable condition after I got their 20 cats and the smoke stains off the wall. I was luckily able to get a good investment return because I was able to flip it, but I would not recommend buying an occupied home again. Another tip for how to buy a foreclosure is watch the market and have your favorite realtor help you find the value of the home. Check the tax card. It is public information, and that'll see what it last sold for, or the last couple times it sold. Maybe it's been in foreclosure before. It'll also list the banks that have had interest in the property, maybe not the current one. What does the county say it's worth? What does the tax assessor have it? That'll tell you how much you're going to pay taxes on it. You're not going to pay as much for it as what the last person bought it for, but it gives you an idea of what it might sell for when you get it updated. What are other similar homes on the market selling for? Are there active homes similar to it? In size and features, not necessarily the updates or the condition. Buyers interested in distressed properties are competing against experienced investors, and you want to get an idea of your competition. If foreclosures in your area are almost all selling at auction, then you know there's a high demand because they're not getting to that REO stage. You might want to bid higher for the ones in pre-foreclosure because then, like I said, you can talk to the seller about any information that they can give you. Tips for finding foreclosed properties. Do not pay for a list. It's a scam. Most of those lists are sold, outdated, not even came on the market, so don't pay for them. There's plenty of free resources available to find foreclosed properties in your area. There's not a ton out there right now, but there is a place to find them. The websites that I regularly check are USDA.gov, HUD Home Store, HomePath.com is going to be Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. There's also auction.com if you are ready to do a cash purchase. So there's plenty of websites available. Plus, check with your local realtor. They're going to know what investment properties are available. They may even have people that want to buy homes and don't want to list them. So that's a great place to check. And even if there's not any right now, they can keep you updated on when things come on the market. Another great idea is just to attend auctions. They're going to be in the newspaper. Check your free paper, check your paid paper. There's going to be a list of auctions. They've been in there all year long. So check those newspapers to see any auctions that are coming on and attend those auctions. Even if you're not planning on buying the property, attend the auctions, get an idea for a feel of how things go, and see the process so that when you're ready to buy a property, then you aren't so scared about the process and are just focused on buying the property. So how do you make an airtight offer once you found the foreclosed property you want to buy? Remember that contingencies aren't the norm, and banks also aren't known for their ability to speed through any process. The closer you can get your offer to accepted, the better it will be for everybody involved. Talk to your realtor about the offer that you want to make if you're unclear about anything that you should include. Many foreclosure companies expect earnest money. Usually it's 1%, sometimes it's 2%. So prepare to offer that and have it available. Make your offer the best it is the first time, because oftentimes they're only going to give you one chance. Don't feel like you left something out because you didn't make your best offer the first time. Even if it's not the highest, it can still be the best. They generally have their own timeline, so don't expect them to close when you're ready. Be prepared to close when they are ready to close. They also have their own contract, so please read through them carefully, because those contracts are created by their lawyers to protect them, not you. So be careful. Once your offer gets accepted, you'll be waiting for the closing, and then you can start focusing on the repairs and hopefully move in or get the property rented. Very few distressed homes are going to be move-in ready for the buyer, but it does happen, so hopefully it happens to you, because it's happened to me. Depending on the level of work that needs to be done, some buyers might decide to stay in the house that they're in and do the repairs until it's ready and then move in. Other people are okay with living in the property while they make the repairs. It's just going to be up to you, the repairs needed, and how comfortable you are with it. If you do the work on the front end, you'll find that buying a foreclosure can be an option for owner-occupiers as well as investors. But make sure you're not skimping on the due diligence. Learn everything that you can about the home you're going to buy, and you'll be much less likely to encounter any unpleasant surprises. So if you want more information about how to buy a foreclosure, reach out to me to give you some direction, or check this information out, 5 Secrets to Strengthen Your Offer, in the description below. See you again soon.